I'm about an hour drive north of Auckland in New Zealand, and I'm just heading in to check in on one of my students, Jordan Collin. He has been in my online course for quite a while, and he was just at the Roebuck Farm 4-day workshop as well. His place is on the way to the spot that my wife and I are heading to anyways, so I figured stop in, check on him and his farm, see what he's up to, and he's also promised to give us some produce, so we're excited to get some fresh local veggies from a farm that I know. It's kind of surreal and kind of sweet to go and see how these techniques that I've been doing have been transposed into different countries and different places in the world. But I will say right now, it is kind of interesting, this place that we're at in New Zealand is very similar to my climate in the Okanagan. In fact, when I look around this dry sort of rolling hillsides, it's exactly like where I live, and it's hot right now. It's almost 30 degrees Celsius and windy, so it seems like summer has finally arrived. But let's pop in on Jordan and see how he's doing. Jordan.
Hey Curtis.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, my pleasure. So we were just passing through and we figured we might as well slide in and check in on you, and you're doing a very similar market garden to mine.
Yeah, just pretty much a rural version.
Yeah.
Bigger walkways.
Yeah, you've growing Salanova in here, or a New Zealand equivalent to Salanova. You got some leafy greens like arugula and red Russian. Mm-hmm. How many years into it are you now?
About 5 months.
5 months. Yeah, so just started, basically this season, right?
Pretty much. We've only just started selling the last couple months.
And when does your season start?
It doesn't really end.
Doesn't really end, but
yeah.
I guess the better question is, when's your spring? Like when do you kind of start strong?
Probably when the ground dries out is probably about October.
Yeah.
Though it was a weird year this year, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah, because exactly. It's just been kind of a cool and wet summer, and
exactly. It rained really late into spring, and then summer has kind of just started. So
yeah, I know. Yeah. It kind of seemed to have started when we showed up. We're in a super windy climate. It's amazing. Jordan's place here is very similar to my climate, and I'm just wondering how you're managing some of this wind.
Not very well, to be honest. It's like, you can see our windbreak in the background there. It's just, it needs to be concreted in. We're going to be tree planting in autumn. We just haven't had the water to do it. We're in drought at the moment.
Yeah.
So, pretty much a lot of sandbags.
Yeah.
So we've just got about 200 of these sandbags just weighing everything down. But it's not a long-term option. We really need to get some windbreak up. Yeah, and
you're tarping things that aren't in production. Yeah. New Zealanders always ask me this, so maybe if you can tell people where the types of plastic you're sourcing and where you're getting it from.
Actually, can't remember the name of the place where I get my 2-meter tarps to cover the beds. It's a place in Auckland, but it's pretty much the same price as buying them from any hardware store or RD1 or Farmlands or anything like that. The big tarps we got from RD1. I find it's
from RD1.
RD1,
okay.
Yeah, it's like a farm shop.
I think. I saw the sign on the way up here actually.
Yeah, so I find it's much cheaper to buy the 5-meter width ones. Otherwise, the price triples, quadruples.
And then you can do blocks of beds and stuff like that, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's going to come in handy later. But a lot of people have just been getting billboard tarps, which are pretty much free.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at that yet.
Right. So your main products you're marketing is basically salad mix and a couple of, like, are you selling arugula on its own, or?
Yeah, we are. That's really popular. And we do a seasonal mix, which is kind of like your spring mix. It's just whatever we're growing.
Yeah.
We were doing a mesclun mix, which will start again soon.
Yeah.
Just your baby greens.
Yeah.
And lettuce mix. Yeah.
Nice.
And that's it for the moment.
Yeah. And the fabrics you've got on the beds, is that kind of pest protection? Is that the idea there?
It's called bug net from Kosio.
Oh, okay.
It's just an insect netting.
Right.
If we don't put that on,
then the flea beetles get it, or what?
I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Caterpillars mainly. Just
really?
Absolutely smashes it. Yeah, we've had really big caterpillar problems. But Yeah, we've been covering up our beds a bit quicker after harvesting now, which has helped a lot.
So that they don't go in and feast on it, basically.
Exactly.
Just doesn't
then
proliferate the insect.
Yeah, they reproduce in the older beds, and then they just move over to the nice stuff.
Yeah.
So we had some real problems with that.
So that's your strategy is basically if a bed is cropped out and you're not going to regrow again, you just cover it up.
Yeah, immediately. We never leave anything outside the bug net, pretty much, while it's got tasty leaves on it.
Yeah, right on. And so going forward into next season, so you're 5 months into your first season, you said you're just starting to kind of scratch out a living at this.
Yeah.
What are you planning to do next year? Or next year?
Well, I guess even right now, we're going to be planting root crops this week. Just because everything's dying down from summer, so we want to make some extra income there.
Yeah.
Pretty much take over the town.
Yeah.
Go and do that. But we do want to start a bit of a CSA next year because we've just had so many people asking us.
Oh, really?
It seems like a sensible thing to do.
That's a good sign.
And all the fruiting crops have been growing really, really well here as well.
Yep.
Just laden, so it seems like a good idea.
Yeah. So you were mentioning you want to expand your post-harvest area. Are you going to change some stuff around here?
Yeah, definitely. We'll be building, like a canopy coming out because it's just a 3x3 meter shed just to get us started, So,
yeah, well, whatever works,
Yeah, and moving the cool room so it's actually next to our post-harvest area.
Right.
Not on the other side of the fence.
Right.
So just a little bit of jiggling, but otherwise it works, like my scrappy-looking wash table. It does a really good job. So.
There you go. Whatever works.
Yeah.
And what are you thinking? Because a challenge for a lot of farmers is if you don't own the land, how much time can you want to justify in infrastructure upgrades?
Yeah.
So when it comes to the windbreaks and things like that, what are you willing to put into that, knowing that you might not be here too much longer?
In all likeliness, we'll be here for the next 10 years.
Okay.
So that's about how long a lot of this stuff's going to last anyway.
Yeah, it's probably
I'm pretty
reasonable.
happy we've secured 5 years, so I'm not too worried. I'm happy to just put it in, and if something happens, we'll lose maybe a couple $1,000s of infrastructure max.
Right.
That's the great thing about a small farm is there isn't much infrastructure.
That's right. Yeah, and in the long term, if you can make it really popular, and you've only got, you're maxing out your production, and you've only put in a few $1,000s to make some windbreaks, maybe plant some quick-growing trees or something.
That's it.
It's not that big of a deal.
Well, actually, the owner's going to plant the trees for us.
Fantastic.
Anyway, so.
Yeah, I mean, if it's his land and it's a permanent upgrade for him, there's a good value exchange there.
Exactly. So yeah, we don't really have to worry about that too much.
Right on. Thanks for taking the time, Jordan.
No worries.
All right, man.
Pleasure to have you.